Hi, my name is Adam Funk. I'm a birth injury lawyer in Houston, Texas. And today I'm going to be talking to you about fetal distress and meconium during labor and delivery. So let's first start with what is meconium? Meconium is the first stool or bowel movement that a newborn has. Typically, a newborn will have it outside of the womb after he or she is already born. However, there are plenty of times where the baby will pass the meconium while still in the womb. Typically, the body doesn't allow for that because all of the waste goes through the umbilical cord. So once you are still attached to the umbilical cord, your bowel movements are being filtered through mom. However, as soon as the umbilical cord is cut and then clamped, the baby's digestive system should start working and meconium should then happen, the first bowel movement outside of the womb. But there are times where meconium is passed inside the womb, and it can be very dangerous. Here's why. Meconium typically does not happen inside the womb unless there's some sort of fetal distress. If the baby or the fetus has some sort of issue going on in the womb, typically that is oxygen deprivation. The body will shut down, certain functions stop actually working. For example, the anus or the sphincter, which is typically very tight in a newborn and doesn't allow for a bowel movement to come out, will actually loosen up and release that meconium. Meconium in the womb can be extremely dangerous. And the reason being is because it fills up the amniotic sac, which is typically a very clean fluid, with this feces and this fecal matter. And the baby will start to choke on it. It'll go into the baby's mouth and down into his or her throat. And there is something called Meconium Aspiration Syndrome. So as soon as a meconium stained sac is seen, meaning when they rupture the membranes and they see meconium staining, the amniotic fluid is brown or tinged brown in some way. The obstetric team has to be extremely careful and quick of delivering the baby as soon as possible so that he or she does not choke on that meconium. If that does happen and there is meconium aspiration syndrome that occurs, it can lead to a host of issues. Oxygen deprivation that leads to brain injuries, that leads to a lot of physical and cognitive delays. It requires a tremendous amount of treatment as well, something that's extremely important to pursue and to continue throughout the baby's life. If you have questions about meconium aspiration syndrome or whether or not your baby had fetal distress during labor and delivery and might have choked on the meconium, please give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. My name is Adam Funk, and I'm a birth injury lawyer.